Welcome to Scrum Talk with me, CJ. Of course, we're going to have a look at what happened over the weekend when it comes to the Rugby World Cup 2019. And boy, we do have an upset to talk about, but we'll talk about the first game that happened on Saturday morning, of course. So we had Argentina go up against Tonga, and both the teams coming out of losses, of course, in their first game. So Argentina had a narrow loss against Ireland, while Tonga got beat very convincingly by the Three Roses as England. But Argentina do come through to keep their quarterfinal hopes alive. 28 for 12 is the scoreline, and Argentina had a remarkable display against a defeated Tonga side, of course. Now, the upset comes from the second game. The host, Japan, go up against World Cup favourites Ireland. Ireland beat Scotland, and of course, and Japan had a wonderful start to their game, and Japan, out of nowhere, with a 7-point try and a conversion, they beat the Irish 19 to 12. No one expected it, but the cherry blossoms have finally bloomed, says the headlines, of course, in the Guardian paper, and they are keeping their quarterfinal hopes alive. Their target was, they said, was to cut to the quarterfinals, and after that they will see. But looks like Japan is surprising everyone. They're the host nation, and the fans have been absolutely wonderful. The next game was between South Africa and Namibia, and that was a massacre. It was a massacre by the Springboks, 57 for 3. Namibia just didn't have an answer. Of course, South Africa came out with a vengeance after losing to the All Blacks, so they have kept their quarterfinal hopes alive as well. And then we also had another cracker game, Georgia Uruguay. The score line doesn't exactly show justice to the performance, even though Georgia beat 33 for 7. It was not exactly easy for Georgia, of course, but Georgia lost their first game and they wanted to prove their point. They wanted to show their fighting spirit. Uruguay, they won their first game. No one saw that coming, and they were very happy. If you remember the first game, of course, for Uruguay against Fiji, Uruguayan players were in tears, but they have their party comes to a short stop very soon. But let's see. It's still early to say when it comes to their quarterfinal hopes, but Georgia do come through. And then another somewhat of an upset, but you could say these two teams are on par. The Wallabies Australians take on the Welsh, and the Welsh won 29 to 25. A narrow victory, of course. The Welsh come through. The Wallabies couldn't have an answer in the very latter stages of the game, but the Welsh come through as well, keeping their quarterfinal hopes alive. Now, today we have one game, 3:45 local time kickoff. It's going to be between Scotland and Samoa, two teams who have lost their games as well. So that's going to be pretty interesting. But things are getting heated up because now it's about standings and who's on top of the pool and who can go to the quarterfinal. So very soon we're going to start the knockout process, of course. But today, 3:45, Scotland versus Samoa. That's a wrap up on Scrum Talk with me, CJ.